Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new up in this place, my name is Ntwaniengomane, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today's video is actually about the visa process, and I just want to share my story on how I got to go through the visa process, the costs that I incurred, because yes guys, you are going to incur a cost. And I know obviously companies offer like a relocation package which includes your visa costs, so this is on a reimbursement basis, but you have to incur the cost first before your company reimburses it, right? So my process goes like this. When I got the opportunity that I went through the interview and got feedback on the interview, and I had gotten the job and they offered me the job, right? And then after I accepted, a few days later, I got contacted by my employer's immigration agents, and they wanted to start the immigration process with me. So I must say that I actually went through the visa process with an immigration agent that my employer had arranged at the time. So if you are going through this yourself, there may be some extra things that you need to do and maybe some extra costs you will have to incur. But in this video, I will specifically speak about going through the visa process with an immigration agent like I did, right? So the first thing that I had to do was I needed to give the immigration agent some supporting documents for them to apply for my visa on my behalf, right, with the UK government. So in getting this document, these supporting documents, there were a few costs that I had to incur to get them, and this is what I want to share. I had to get a TB test done, and this for me was done in Pretoria. So I had to drive to Pretoria to get scanned and all of that. So basically the TB test is done with the International Organization for Migration in Pretoria. There's an office there where you go, you book an appointment. That's another thing, you don't just pitch up, you have to book an appointment, and then they tell you you should come on this day and you have to pay this certain amount of money before that appointment date. So that's what I did. And then another thing to remember with the TBT test is that they are usually like so fully booked. So if you know you have to do this process, the moment basically you get notified that you need to do this process, I would recommend starting with the TB test earlier, because for me it took, so when I called and asked for an appointment date, they gave me a date which is like a month later. So it really does take time to get that appointment. So I did that appointment online, and I had to pay 2,500 Rand for the appointment and for the scans and for the TB test basically to be done. One nice thing about it is that your TB results actually come back while you're there. So on the day that you go for the appointment, they do the scans, and then you wait for like 30 minutes to an hour, and then you get your results and you get your certificate, and that is done. The second thing that I needed to do is the English requirement, or the English proficiency test or proof or something like that, but I just call it the English requirement that I had to prove to the UK government that I can actually converse in English. I do understand English, you know, because English is the main language in the UK. So the English requirement, to sort of satisfy that, there are two options. So one, you can use your degree to prove that you understand English, that you can read and write and you can converse in English. Basically you are proficient in English, so you can use your degree to do that if your degree was taught and you wrote your exams and assessments in English. So that's one thing. And then the second way you can do this is through writing an English test, which they organize, and you have to pitch up at the venue. It's just like any other exam where you have to pitch up at the venue and you have to prepare and then write the test. I think there's different elements to the test. There's like writing. I think there's also like oral test where they like ask you questions orally and you reply. Not very knowledgeable about it because I didn't go for that option. I felt like I had written way too many tests in my life to write another one, so I decided to use my degree. So with my degree, at the time when I completed my degree, at tax had a policy that you could either choose to complete your degree in English or in Afrikaans, and I chose English in my registration. So if you do want to get like confirmation from tax to say your degree was in English, you'd have to give them an affidavit that says you chose English when you registered as your medium of instruction for your degree, and then they will get that affidavit and print you a letter that basically says, yes, this person completed this degree on this year and it was taught and assessed in English, right? So that's the English requirement. So when you get that letter from your university, you just need to send it to ECTIS. ECTIS is an abbreviation. I'll put the full thing on the screen. I can't remember it right now, but you need to send it to ECTIS, and then they will do like an assessment to see if you are proficient in English, to see if your degree also is equivalent to the UK degree, basically. And then another point on this is that you cannot use your PGDA or CTA certificate or degree, as we call it, or diploma really, because it does not equate to a degree in the UK. So the only thing you can use if you want to use the degree option is to actually use your actual degree, your actual 3-year degree, and not the honors PGDA certificate, right? So this process for doing the whole English requirement, obviously at UP they didn't charge me anything. I just needed to give them an affidavit and give them my student number, but they didn't charge me like money to issue me the letter to say my degree was in English. But I do get charged when I submit these documents for ECTIS to verify and issue a certificate that my degree is equivalent to a degree in the UK, and also I'm proficient in English. So for the ECTIS part of it, that's what you need to pay, and I paid £147.50, which equates around to like 3,000 rand, I think, if you use like a black and white exchange rate of like 20 rand. Yeah, so that'll be like 3,000 rand. The next thing is the actual visitation to the UK Migration Office. So after you have your TB test and you have your English proficiency certificate, you need to send this to your immigration agent, who will then do the application on the UK website on your behalf, or in this case they did on my behalf. So if you are doing this yourself and you're not using an agent, you probably would then need to do this application on the UK government site yourself, and I think that also comes with a cost, right? But that cost, for me, I didn't have to pay it. My employer covered that cost. I could be wrong, but I think it was about 16,000 rand or something, somewhere similar to that, but I think it was about 16 to 20,000 rand for that. But I didn't pay that, my employer paid that for me. And then after that process was done, my immigration came back to me and said, hey, your application has been done through the online portal. You need to go to a UK migration to get your biometrics done and to have a picture taken and to surrender your passport so it can come back with the actual stamp, right? So I went to the UK migration office. This is also in Pretoria. And obviously you go there through appointment. So when your agent comes back and say, we've done the process, we've booked you to go and do your biometrics on this day at this time. So I had to go to the UK migration office on that day and on the time that I was told. So when I got there, I did my biometrics. They took my fingerprints. They took a headshot, like a headshot picture, and I had to pay for that up front. So I paid, I think I paid like 350 rand for the biometrics and the pictures to be taken. And then another thing that was added for me personally was a delivery. So I didn't want to come back to the UK migration office to collect my passport with my visa. So I opted for them to deliver the passport back to me. So that was an added cost as well. I think it was about 200 rand for the delivery. So basically that was my visa process, and that's how, I think it took about maybe a good 2 months. But then my visa, delayed because by the time I went to do my biometrics, it was like the 3rd of December. and I think it takes about 2 weeks, and at the time people were now going on leave for holidays and all of that, so it took a bit longer for me. But I think in total it took about 2.5 to 3 months. So maybe you want to start this process sooner, if that's, if you want to get it, if your timeline is basically like squeezed in a little bit. But that is my visa process. So the total cost, the TB test, the English requirement, and the services for the UK Migration Office, all of that in total cost me about 5,800 to 6,000 rand. So I would say, guys, if you are considering moving abroad and you want to get started on the process, make sure you have a bit of money saved up. It is always important to have some sort of money saved up, and I think it enables you to take up opportunities that you'd rather not be able to take up if you didn't have the money. So moving abroad is not like an all expenses paid trip. You will have to pay upfront, and yes, your employer might reimburse you if that is, part of your contract. For me, it was. So all these costs that I just spoke about here, I could claim back when I landed in the UK, or as soon as I started with my new employer. So that was my visa process. If you've been through this process and you've had it a bit differently, please do leave down a comment. If there is anything more you want to know on the visa process, please do leave a comment down below, and I will be continuing with our webinars, and I'll let you guys know when the next webinar will be, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about this, and you can ask me any further questions that you might like. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you in my next one. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Bye.